Good evening and welcome to News Hour. My name is Cecil Nelson. Coming up in this edition of News Hour tonight, to monitor the distribution of the free healthcare drugs, Ministry of Health and Sanitation reviews metrics on the free healthcare drug supply. More than 40 journalists earned training on media contribution to the better understanding of humanitarian issues in Sierra Leone. Norwegian charity food Sierra Leone hands over a 4-classroom block to the United Methodist Church Primary School in Rotawa, Pompey. All these stories plus business and sports are packed up in this edition of News Hour. 20 students of Yonibana Secondary School have received scholarships from a non-governmental organization based in the United States, Me Against Poverty. Here's the report. The chairman of the occasion, the Director General of the SLBC, Elvis Banabum Hallowell, said education is getting more expensive every day. As a teacher and lecturer, he pointed out that most students do not perform well at school because they don't have a scholarship to help them tackle their financial obligations. He added that education is an important tool and stated that with the scholarships, parents could divert expenditure to other areas and the problem of thinking of money for fees could be a thing of the past. He stressed that if it were not for education, he would not have attained his present status.
I am saying this because there are parents in this town today who still refuse to send their children to school. And that is the greatest disservice you could do to this country.
The chairman, Elvis Banham Hallowell, gave a helping hand of 1.5 million leones to the Yonibana Secondary School. He said what Me Against Poverty has done should be an eye-opener to all and encourage parents to send their children to school so they could secure a brighter future. Making a statement, the founder and chairman of Me Against Poverty, Beresford Coker, gave a brief background of the organization. He said their motto, Educate to Eradicate Poverty, was deliberate because they believe it is only through education that Sierra Leone and Africa could kick away poverty. He stressed the importance of education and added that there are many parents who want to send their children to school but could not because of financial reasons. He went on to say that there are parents who, on the other hand, prefer to send their children to sell in the streets. He stated that Sierra Leone has about 65% illiteracy and only 35% is literate. It is disclosed that an American woman, Patrice Howard, who had never been to Sierra Leone, donated the money for the scholarships. He called on Sierra Leoneans to show love to one another. The principal of Yonibana Senior Secondary School, Joseph S. Conte, in appreciation of the scholarships, said it is indeed a good venture MAP is taking to help students of their community. He thanked MAP for helping them to rebuild their schools, which was burnt down during the rebel war. He said the scholarship would help be a motivating factor for other students to study hard and pay more attention to their schoolwork. A student of Yonibana Senior Secondary School, Mayatu Alaska Bangua, expressed heartfelt appreciation to MAP and added that they will make the best out of it. She promised, on behalf of her schoolmates, that they will seize the opportunity to become the leaders of tomorrow. Cecil Nelson, SLBC News, Freetown. And now to tell us more about the scholarships, we have in the studio the founder and chairman of Me Against Poverty, Beresford Coker. Good evening and welcome to News Hour tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Nelson. Thank you very much.
Could we start by you telling us how Me Against Poverty came about?
Yeah, thank you very much again. Me Against Poverty came about 3 years ago, actually. When I went to the States, I made a conscious effort to help people back home in Sierra Leone. So I was part of the Facebook. I know you know about Facebook,
yes,
and also Twitter.
Yeah.
It's a social network, and I thought about having something similar like that, but with the idea of having discussions centered around eradicating poverty.
Okay.
And so we started that network, and then I identified people that exhibit a great passion to fight poverty, and then we decided to make a more structured organization, and that's how it was born. We started off with Sierra Leoneans Against Poverty, but then we decided that we want to make it more inclusive and personalize it, and that's why we changed the name to Me Against Poverty. This was 3 years ago, February 18, 2009.
Wonderful. Now, Me Against Poverty, how do you guys fund sourcing? How do you create funds to help out in Sierra Leone and other parts of Africa?
It's been a very, very difficult challenge, but by God's grace, we know we're going to overcome and get through all the hurdles. Primarily, we've been raising funds by the board members. Basically, we all contribute monthly. And also, we've organized a series of fundraising events in the Metro DC area, which is Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. In 2010, we held our first fundraising event. And also, last year, we had a second fundraising event, which was very successful. And as I'm speaking to you right now, my board is actively planning our third fundraising event, which will be in July 21st of this year in Maryland.
Okay, Mr. Koki, you've just given out 20 scholarships to 20 students of the Yonibana Secondary School. How did you manage to do this?
I want to be really, really thankful to a lady called Patrice Howard. She's an African American. She's never been to Sierra Leone. I'm not sure whether she's even been to Africa. She's a close friend of the Secretary of Me Against Poverty. And what happened is in our first fundraising event, she played a pivotal role towards the success of that event. And she's very passionate about helping kids. And so what she did, she celebrated her 30th birthday anniversary last year. And instead of making a huge party bash, she decided to hold like sort of a dinner in a hotel in Washington, D.C. And people had to pay to enter for this dinner. And the funds that were raised was divided between 3 organizations, of which Me Against Poverty was one of the recipients. And she gave us graciously $1,500, of which we've used $750 for this scholarship for the 20 students in Yonibana.
Okay, most people might want to think that most organizations come over to Africa to exploit people. How honest and transparent is your organization, Me Against Poverty?
Honesty and transparency is the core of our organization. Just to put things in perspective, I was born and raised in Kisii, Freetown. I've never been to Yonibana. Okay. And so when we decided that we were going to award a scholarship, it was a very transparent process because we've had stories where people handpick the recipients of the scholarships, and I don't think that's fair. So what we did is make sure that we had a selection committee for the scholarship, and we empowered the school board to make sure that they can select the best students. And at the end of the day, the final 20 students receive the scholarship, but we make sure that there's clear transparency. The problem we're having is, dealing with our counterparts here back home, because it's a little different the way things are structured in the States versus here in Sierra Leone. But as a whole, I'm very optimistic that we're going to move forward with the project in Yonibana.
Okay, Mr. Coker, now finally, what other plans have you, apart from giving out scholarships, apart from Yonibana? Because Yonibana is not the only place in Sierra Leone. What other plans have you?
We do have plans to go not only in Sierra Leone, but to go beyond Sierra Leone. That's why we changed the name from Sierra Leoneans Against Poverty to Me Against Poverty, because we want to transcend beyond the border of Sierra Leone. We're seeking our first huge donor from the United States to raise some huge funds so that we can expand on some projects. We have one project that I want to talk about just briefly, which is the Library and Computing Center in Yonibana. But hopefully we want to make sure that we go beyond Yonibana, Sierra Leone, and elsewhere in West Africa.
Okay, well, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the News Hour.
Thank you very much.
He is the founder and chairman of Me Against Poverty, Beresford Coker.